أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to our second detour from the main course of our Arabic lessons. Now this detour is about a grammatical classification of Allah Ta'ala's creatures, and that is what we are going to study, and along with its implication and significance. All right, so let's get right into it. But before doing so, of course, we are going to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make these things easier for us to teach as well as to understand and memorize. So Rabbi Yasir wala tuwassir wa tamim bil khair, Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. All right, so let's get on with it. Allah Ta'ala's um, creatures have been divided grammatically into two types. Now, this is once again the grammatical classification and not the actual classification, right? Because the actual classification is so diverse that you can't even begin to count them, all right? So, this classification is solely and only grammatical, all right? So what do we see here? We see that the creation can either be aqil or it can be ghair aqil. The word ghair means absence, all right, or non. So aqil or ghair aqil. Aqil has its root word from aql and it means intelligence, all right. Well, technically it means to control your emotions and control the hype in your to control the hype in your emotions, all right. That's what actually aql means. But for a rough translation purpose or for the sake of this lesson, aqil means someone who possesses intelligence, all right. And we have three main species here, all right, or well, you can say three major creatures here. So we have humans, jinns, and angels, all right. They are considered as aqil, and everything else, all right, all the animals, the inanimate objects, and all the other things, they are considered as ghair aqil. Okay, now what do we why do we need to know this? We need to know this because it has a grammatical implication. Let me explain it with the help of an example. So we have the word rasulun, which is of course aqil, all right, and its jama mukassir is rusulun, all right. And we know from our, well, we already know that the name of the third juz is tilkar rusul. Now this rusul here, a rusul, is the mu'arraf bilam form of rusulun, okay. And tilka is a word, it is a pointing noun that is used to point towards feminine nouns, all right. Now coming towards the concept, now this word grammatically is masculine, all right. This word grammatically, it is the jama mukassir, but as this word is actually the jama mukassir of an aqil ism, all right, therefore it can be treated as feminine as well as masculine. It makes no difference, but the usual practice is to treat it as feminine, all right. That's why we have tilkar rusul. So once again, if if we have an aqilism and if we have its jama mukassir or jama salim, doesn't matter, if we have jama of any aqilism, it can be treated grammatically as masculine as well as feminine, all right. Now why is it important to know? It is important to know because if you didn't know this point, that it can be treated as feminine as well as masculine, then you would be wondering that why is this feminine pointing noun is being used with this masculine noun, all right. Then you would be wondering, because then your mind would wander towards other things, that all the prophets are males, then why is this feminine pointing noun doing here? All right, so this is a purely grammatical point. It has nothing to do with actual grammatical actual physical genders. All right, this is a grammatical thing. Once again, if you have an aqilism and if you have the jama of an aqilism, then it can be treated as feminine as well as masculine. This is only a single implication, all right? There are many other implications in terms of pointing nouns and all many other things, and they will be covered as the time comes. Okay, coming to our second point, which is or the ghair aqil asma are treated as feminine. Once again, all the jama of ghair aqil asma are treated as feminine. Now, remember how in classical English the inanimate objects of significance they used to be referred to as feminine. All right, so when, for example, Titanic sank, they said that she sank instead of saying it sank. All right, so the modern English says it sank, but the classical English said she sank. It's the same concept over here. So all the jama salins and the mukassirs of rare aqil asma are treated as feminine only. What's the difference? The difference lies in this thing, that the aqil, jama salim or mukassir can be treated as feminine as well as masculine or according to the context, but the jama salim or mukassir of ghair aqil asma can only be treated as feminine. So for example, if we have the word babun, which means a door, it means a door and it is masculine grammatically. Its jama mukassir is abwabun, and I know that you already know this is the pattern of af'alun, doors, abu babun. Now grammatically this babun is masculine, but grammatically this abu babun is going to be treated as feminine because babun is ghair aqil, so it's jama salim, well, jama mukassir technically. They are treated only as feminine. So whenever you are going to point, for example, towards uh, any ghair aqil, jama salim or mukassir, you are going to use tilka, for example. Okay, so you're going to use tilka and not zalika. All right, so we are going to study all these pointing nouns in detail in the upcoming chapters, inshallah. All right, so this was the basic point. So let's just sum it up all together once again so that we can wind it up. The creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may be grammatically classified into two types, aqil and ghair aqil. Aqil are the ones that possess intelligence, and they comprise of humans, jinns, and angels, and everything else is ghair aqil grammatically. Importance, one of the important points that is that if we have the jama of any aqilism, it may be treated as feminine as well as masculine. And if we have the jama of ghair aqilism, then it is treated only as feminine. And when I say treated as, it means that the pointing nouns, for example, they are the, or for example, if we have the verbs, then we have the feminine verbs, or we have the feminine pointing nouns and all these things. All right, we do not use masculine pointing nouns or masculine form of verbs with those ghair aqil asma. All right, so well, this is the basic concept and I hope that you have understood it. In case you haven't, just drop me a message and I'll see, and I'll elaborate it further, inshallah. So just to wind it up, if you have the jama of aqilism, treat it as feminine or masculine, and if you have the jama of ghair aqil, which is everything else, then you have to treat it as feminine no matter what. That is it. All right, so I hope this lesson, this little detour rather, was clear, and it's rather easy. And in the next lesson, inshallah, we're going to start analyzing asma, and I'll see you then. So barakallahu li wa lakum fil Quran al Hakim. Allah Hafiz.